Sometimes what your kids don't say is much louder than what they do. The Mobile Crisis Response Team was created to provide crisis intervention and support to Nevada families and youth dealing with behavioral and mental health issues. Here with more on their services is Clinical Program Manager Janine Wimberly, along with Mental Health Counselor Gabby Mraz. Good morning to both of you and welcome.
Good morning.
Janine, let's start with you. Can you give us more details on the Mobile Crisis Response Team and how you work?
Absolutely. Well, the Mobile Crisis Response Team is a program that's been in existence for about 2 years. It was developed by this Department of Child and Family Services to provide crisis intervention services to Nevada youths 18 and under and their families.
You saw that there was a need, so it got developed.
Absolutely, absolutely. What we found is that children were taken to the ERs and having psychiatric hospitalizations, and we felt that we could provide a service to keep them in their homes, keep them in their schools, and in their communities.
You know, Gabby, what are some of the mental health issues that you see that you deal with?
Some of the most common behaviors that we see are bullying, self-injury, depression, anxiety, suicidal ideations.
Is this happening at all grade levels?
Sadly, it is.
Yes, and what should these kids be doing, and what are you teaching them? What are you telling them?
Well, pretty much, I mean, when we meet with them, we try to emphasize coping skills, ways so that they can manage and learn to manage their emotions and the situations that they're dealing with.
And you mentioned just a moment ago that these kids are going to the emergency room for this when they could be turning to you for help. Is that right?
Correct. And so that's how the program was developed, really as an opportunity to prevent families from having to go to the ERs. It's quite costly for families, and it's very scary for children. So what we can do is come to the homes. We're going into the schools, and we're evaluating at that point because, again, our goal is to keep them in their homes, in the schools, in the community.
How are you hearing about these kids?
We have direct referrals. They can call our hotline, or we get referrals from schools, from Department of Juvenile Justice. We're working with all of the ERs in the Valley as well, and Metro.
Yeah, and you mentioned that when these families go to the emergency room, it gets expensive, and they're not really sometimes equipped to deal with that. They're equipped to deal with injuries more than something else, and so that's where you can step in and help families.
Absolutely. So if we're able to come in and do an assessment, we're able to stay with the families and provide stabilization services as well. So not only do we assess, but we do intensive services. So we're in the homes anywhere from 2 to 3 times a week for an hour and a half to 2 hours at a time for up to 30 days. And so we are working with the child, with the family, intensively for those 30 days.
So you're there with them for 30 days then, and then you'll evaluate what their next step is or what they need after that?
That is correct. So we do an assessment. We work in pairs. It's always a clinician working primarily with the kid. And then we also have psychiatric case managers working with the family. So identifying the needs of the family to stabilize the situation so that the child can be successful.
And I can imagine they don't know what to do or how to cope or have the verbal skills to get them through what they're going through. So turning to you for help and guidance is so important.
Absolutely, and that's what we find with the families. The reason why they end up in the ERs is parents really don't know what to do and how to help their children, and so it's an opportunity for us to come in, teach those skills, provide therapy, do psychiatric case management with the families and support them, get them stable, and then if they need ongoing services, we can refer them to community providers.
And when it comes to, say, someone that's being bullied in school, do you ever then go to the attacker as well and have a dialogue, or is that something that's not really in your realm?
We don't necessarily go to the attacker. We try to work with the schools and try to help the family, but not necessarily going against them.
Yeah, with the coping and learning, showing them skills and how to kind of work through what they're going through.
Exactly, and we do collaborate with the schools as well, so we will go in and do assessments there. We'll work with their teachers, the administrators, again, trying to help stabilize the situation.
Yeah, and you mentioned you've been doing this for about 2 years, and how many kids have you helped so far, would you say? Quite a lot?
Quite a few, quite a few. It's a much needed service in Nevada.
I can imagine, especially in the schools and all this bullying that's going on.
Absolutely.
So if a teacher or a parent knows of a child that needs some help, can they just call also?
Absolutely. We have a hotline number that they can call, and if they just have questions, we can answer the questions. They'll be speaking with a member of the Mobile Crisis Team, and then if it's a need for an assessment, we'll take all their demographic information and we'll schedule that response.
And when it comes to an assessment, how long does that typically take?
The assessment itself can take anywhere from an hour to perhaps 2 hours. It all depends. Every situation is different, so it all depends.
And really, that's nothing to save a kid's life, really. That needs help, doesn't know where to turn. Ladies, thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
If your child is showing signs of behavior or mental health issues, help is available. The Mobile Crisis Response Team is here to support families in need. To learn more, just visit the website on your screen or call the number listed. They're also on Facebook.